Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Welcome to Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The Center for Democracy and Good Governance is a sound organization established to promote and strengthen democracy.
I want the best for my family, so every meal has to be perfect. Every bite has to say, There's no doubt in my mind that the best in frozen meats and vegetables has to come from the Country Cold Store. Hams, turkeys, sausages, beef, pork, chicken. I just don't know my family is in safe hands. Thank you, Country Cold Store, for being there for us for the past 40 years.
There are some interesting specials available at Country Cold Store's Mini Mart while stocks last. Take advantage of these specials as they assist you to stretch your limited funds.
The Country Cold Store, providing the best in frozen meats and vegetables since 1969.
Attention all forward-thinking companies. Sure, you can do with a continuous positive boost to your image and impact your bottom line. If you think training is expensive, try not training, and you will experience a perpetual downward spiral in patronage on account of increased dissatisfied customers. Take things into your hands and engage the best at motivation and customer care training with a tried and tested track record. Visit www.efrederick.com now and learn how you can change the atmosphere in your business and improve the customer experience for everyone who does business with you. Spice Island Beach Resort and Belmont Estate are two such local entities of world renown that have benefited tremendously from ongoing customer care, social skills, and motivation training. Training changes everything for the better for any business and every team member. Enhance employee performance through increased awareness and passion for the job at hand. Greater potential in your workforce awaits you through engaged, high-energy training that works. Log on now, www.efrederick.com.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Wonderful, folks, wonderful. And of course, it's a plum-pleasing pleasure to be with you once again. Welcome to Edification 256 as we approach the second half of the second month of 2025. Oh, how time can really fly. And that is precisely why we must never waste it on things and even people that do not enhance our lives. After all, one life to live, and we should craft it in such a way that we can be truly proud. One way to do this is to remove ourselves from the fray and concentrate on self-mastery, self-preservation, self-care, and of course, self-actualization. In this way, you will become an asset. The asset, of course, that you were meant to be to your own life and the collective as a whole. For Grenada to be really great, the greatness in every Grenadian must shine. Goodly folks, as soon as you come into the room, share, comment, like, love, and just interact, of course, as you usually do. Great to be with you once more. Great to be in the land of the living above ground, focused and on mission. Of course, not to mention on purpose too. Our angel number for today is 256. A wonderful combination of the energies and vibrations of the numbers 2, 5, and 6. Number 2, of course, represents harmony, balance, and relationships. Number 5 signifies change, adaptability, and versatility. Number 6 is associated with, believe it or not, folks, love, nurturing, and responsibility. So together, these numbers form a powerful message of adapting to change while maintaining harmony in our relationships and associations with others. Our topic for today is only one time you will live. Embrace your uniqueness. Stop fitting in. Stand out. You see, folks, in a world that often emphasizes conformity, the idea of fitting in can feel like a natural instinct. From childhood, we are taught to follow rules, adhere to societal norms, and align ourselves with the expectations of others. However, the notion that you could never change where you fit, that challenges this mindset, urging each of us to stop trying to fit in and instead embrace our uniqueness. This sharing today explores the importance of standing out, making a difference, and redefining what it means to truly belong. I'm convinced that fitting in is an illusion. In fact, the desire to fit in is deeply rooted in human psychology. As social beings, we crave acceptance and fair rejection. This often leads us to suppress our true selves, conforming to the expectations of our peers, family members, and of course, the communities that we are from. However, the pursuit of fitting in can be illusionary. No matter how much we try to mold ourselves into what others want us to be, we can never fully change who we are at the core. Our values, our passions, and of course our perspectives are intrinsic to our identity. And attempting to suppress them only leads to dissatisfaction and of course a sense of inauthenticity. You see, folks, this inauthenticity that we see as a matter of course all around us as a result of trying to fit in, people being what they are not, in other words. That helps to account in large part to the high degree of hypocrisy that we feel, we see, and we experience all around us. Too many people around us have allowed themselves to develop a deep level of falseness, which perpetuates the fake lifestyles and character traits that we become known for as a people. You see them in workplaces, all dressed up and decked off to the max, but devils in real, actual life. The costumes they wear are just distractions to make you feel they are what they are not. Interact with them, and your experience will most times prove me right. They are devils in disguise. A lot of workplaces are populated with such poor and challenged talents, private and public sector alike, with, of course, a large concentration of them in the public sector. The truth is, fitting in often requires compromise. It asks us to silence our voices, dilute our dreams, and conform to standards that may not align with our true selves. Just look around you, starting with you, and you will see what I mean by this habit of compromise. And we rarely compromise who we really are. What's the result? A rare type of trauma, which causes us to be hypocritic to ourselves first and foremost. And when we perfect this high level of hypocrisy to ourselves, we allow it to spill over into our interactions with others. In so doing, we lose the opportunity to express our unique gifts and contribute meaningfully to the world. As the saying goes, you were born an original. Stop fighting up to die a copy. You see, there's much power in standing out. A lot. Standing out, you will find, on the other hand, to that of fitting in, is an act of courage and self-acceptance. It means embracing your individuality, celebrating your differences, and refusing to be confined by social expectations. You see, when you stand out, you give yourself permission to be fully seen, flaws and all. This authenticity is not only liberating, but it also is inspiring to others. People who stand out are deeply respected and admired, even though there are those who will tell you otherwise. Who, me? I don't have no time with he, nah. I don't have no time with she, nah. Even those who condemn you for standing out admire and respect you. In fact, we know the standouts among us by the level of attacks levied against them. We are talking here about the standouts for good and positive things, regardless of the reactions of others, and not the thieves, cons, and otherwise degenerates of our society, who our carelessness allows us to put on a pedestal and promote as leaders among us. Oh no, not that kind. Not those miscreants at all. We're not talking about those who stand out for not going to work often, yet demanding their monthly salaries and even putting up themselves for leadership in important organizations, or looking for promotions on the job. No, not those. We're not talking about the standouts who are sour when their poor work performance and constant absence from work prevent them from advancing. In other words, they cannot get a good enough evaluation of their work performance to grant them the opportunity to be given the promotion that they are vexed that they cannot get. And who, when they cannot get it, instead choose to destabilize their employer with public scorn and negative rhetoric. No, we're not talking about those lumpens. We're not talking about those kind of negative standouts, chosen, of course, by lumpen organizations, whether political or otherwise, as their candidate for leadership in entities that they can have their own operative on spot to agitate according to their intention to sabotage genuine progress and development. No, we're not talking about that kind of degenerate as a standout. Oh no, they are standing out too, but they are standing out as miscreants in our society. Those people stand out for the wrong reasons, and we must learn to stand up and put a stop to them advancing in areas where they mean no darn good for the people they represent. You see, history is filled with examples of individuals who choose to stand out rather than fit in. Think of figures like Rosa Parks, who refused to give up her seat on a segregated bus in the United States during the height of racial discrimination. Or Steve Jobs, who revolutionized technology by thinking differently. Right here in Grenada, Eric Gary, who came and understood power to the point where he used it to maim the might of the British elites and colonizers and planters until he himself lost his way, being absorbed by the same power. You see, these individuals did not conform to the status quo. Instead, they challenged it, leaving a lasting impact on life as we know it. Their stories remind us that true progress and innovation came from those who dared to be different. We do know of some thieves and cons who were able to stand out among us in this world, and right here in Grenada, for instance. Just because our people refuse to pay attention and end up glorifying what was never meant good for them, but only for the cons and thieves themselves. You see, standing out also allows you to make a difference in ways that are uniquely yours. Each person has a set of talents. Each person has a set of experiences and even perspectives that no one else can replicate. Consistency at them reaps for any such person, respect. Some people mistake the respect they have for such people as fair, without realizing that the very thing they hypocritically dislike in such people is the very thing that makes such people unavoidable and attracts their wrath. After all, they are known for what they stand for, as such people are truly committed to their authenticity. You see, by embracing these qualities, you can contribute to the world in a way that only you can. Whether it's through art, science, meaningful activism, or simply being a kind and compassionate presence, your uniqueness is a superpower, believe it or not. You see, candidly, authentic people cannot be fooled easily. And so they know by way of power of discernment where to position their kindness, because they operate on the basis of energy, vibes, and frequency. Folks, it's important for us to redefine belonging. One of the greatest fears associated with standing out is the fear of not belonging. However, belonging does not have to mean fitting in. True belonging comes from being accepted for who you truly are, not for who others want you to be. So when you stand out, you attract people who appreciate the value that you bring with your authenticity. These connections are deeper and more meaningful than those formed through conformity. These connections tend to be few, but meaningful. You see, standing out can create a ripple effect, encouraging others to do the same. When you have the courage to be yourself, you give others permission to do the same. In this way, standing out not only enriches your own life, but it also contributes to a more diverse, inclusive, and vibrant society. What could be some practical steps to stop fitting in and start standing out instead? Folks, spend time. Leave people business alone and spend time getting to know yourself. Take time to reflect on your values, your passions, your strengths. Understanding who you are is the first step toward embracing your uniqueness. But you can't do that if you're always up in people's business. You're wasting time. What about embracing vulnerability? Standing out requires vulnerability. It means being willing to take risks, make mistakes, and face criticism. But just as long as you do not remain a statue to a critic, Remember that vulnerability is a sign of strength, not weakness, because you've put yourself out there willingly. That's courageous. Folks, I do that every day. And I wouldn't even say that I am vulnerable because I don't care. I don't give a damn. You see, in my DNA is infused with a statement. As long as I have my shilling in my hand, my sugar in my pan, I don't give a damn. Folks, challenge societal norms. Question the expectations and norms that society imposes on us. Look at us, 51 years, an independent nation, fully sovereign. But when time to dress to go out, a lot of us men look like the slave, the thief, the master's clothes. We don't even have an identity of our own. In the hot tropics, we feel if we are not dressed in a suit and tie, we look good. First, we stupid and dotish. We have to question and challenge societal norms. Those things need to be divorced from. Let us get a formal that suits the tropics. You see, a lot of people go to funeral. I am sure some of them suit help to kill them the next time, next week or week after, because they're fanning like hell first they're hot. That monkey suit is not for hair. So question the expectations and norms that society imposes. Look at going to the ministerial complex. A set of stupid, ignorant, foolish rules to be able to go inside and go upstairs. In a place that was a ghetto for 1995 to 2022 for the most part. A blasted ghetto it was. Being presided over by the chief con of our civilization. Isn't that interesting? And just go next door. In other facilities within the same Sir Eric Gehry Botanical Gardens, and those rules don't apply. That is rubbish. We need to debunk these things, get rid of them, these colonial vestiges, 51 years after we're celebrating independence. Nonsense. Ask yourself whether these things align with your true self or whether they are limiting your potential as individuals and as a collective. Remember, the operatives of these norms tend to be inauthentic people following a script that they had no input in, nor do they understand and appreciate. Surround yourself with supportive people, folks. Seek out relationships and associations with people who celebrate your individuality and encourage you to be yourself. Depart from those who make special efforts to appear as if they like you, when in truth and in fact, they don't. They're easy to discern, folks. Easy. I don't know how you all can see them. Take action, folks. Standing out is not just about thinking differently. It is about acting differently. Use your unique talents and perspectives to make a positive impact in your community and, of course, beyond. You see, the idea that you could never change where you fit is a powerful reminder that fitting in is not the path to fulfillment and success. Instead of trying to conform, we should embrace our uniqueness and stand out. By doing so, we not only honor our true selves, but also inspire others to do the same. In a world that often values sameness and falseness, standing out is a radical act of self-love and courage. It is through our differences that we can make a lasting difference, creating a world that celebrates diversity, authenticity, and individuality. So stop fitting in, stand out, and let your light shine brightly for all to see. Let your light shine so brightly that it blinds the dimwits who are offended by its brightness. You see, the essence of the statement, we were not born to fit in, but rather to stand out, is profoundly true. This idea challenges the conventional narrative that success, happiness, and belonging come from conforming to societal norms. Nonsense. But if the society is as mangled as ours has become, especially during the period 1995 and 2022, for the most part, we will be doomed to sit down and go along. Instead, our true purpose in the midst of all lies in embracing our individuality and using it to make a meaningful impact on the world around us. I stick to what I know, and I've been doing so for the past 40 or so years. I know my worth. I am familiar with my subject, which qualifies me to operate in a spirit of certainty with power, passion, feeling, and conviction. I have absolutely no desire to do anything else and to fit in. My authenticity drives me, and my commitment to seeing people become better and know better feeds my satisfaction. So even as frank and serious as I come across, folks, believe it or not, I mean well. So only one time you will live. Embrace your uniqueness. Stop fitting in. Stand out. Let's take a little break here, and we'll come back with a lot more.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This is Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and or affiliates of this program.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Wonderful, folks. So, for those of you just joining, welcome. Let me just remind you, it's important that you hit that share button. It's important that you get alive and interact. Come on. Let's get your comments going. Let's get your interactions. Good. We're into our second segment now. Welcome. Why were we born to stand out, folks? Uniqueness is inherent. You see, from the moment we are born, we are very unique. Our DNA, experiences, perspectives, and talents are entirely our own. No one else in the world has the exact combination of qualities that each of us possesses on a person-by-person basis. This uniqueness is not a flaw or a mistake. It is a gift. It is meant that you have something special to offer that no one else can replicate. Standing out drives progress, folks. Throughout history, the most significant advancements in, I would say, art, even science, technology, and social justice have come from individuals who dared to stand out. Think of innovators like Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, Fidel Castro, Muhammad Ali. These individuals did not conform to the expectations of their time. Instead, they challenged the status quo and used their unique perspectives to create change. If everyone simply agrees to fit in, progress would stagnate. Look at Grenada from 1995 to 2022 for the most part. A majority of people surrendered to the power of the diabolical and fitted in to their vote farm and end up totally damaged today. The same cannot be said for the few of us who made ourselves untouchable by this evil spell that absorbed so many Grenadians. Look at our very own Dr. Nicholas Earl Brathwaite. He did not allow his being born on Carriacou to stymie his abilities. Oh no! He prepared himself with education at all stages and then launched out into the international arena to become the most influential black man on all of Silicon Valley in the area of technology, touching the world with his wealth of God-ordained talents. Authenticity, folks, fosters connection. While fitting in might seem like the easiest way to belong, true connection comes from authenticity. When you stand out and embrace your true self, you attract people who appreciate you for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. These relationships are deeper, more meaningful, and more fulfilling. You see, fulfillment comes from self-expression. Trying to fit in often requires suppressing your true thoughts, feelings, and even desires. This can lead to a sense of emptiness or even dissatisfaction. On the other hand, standing out allows you to fully express yourself, leading to a greater sense of purpose and fulfillment. Your true expressions of self are a total reflection of your authenticity and is usually resented by those who lack the guts to embrace who they truly are. How dangerous is fitting in, folks? Very, very. Fitting in often comes at a cost. It requires us to shrink ourselves, hide our true identities, and conform to external expectations. This can lead to what? Loss of identity. When you constantly try to fit in, you lose touch with who you truly are. You become as fake as a $3 bill. Over time, you may forget your passions, values, and even dreams. What about missed opportunities? By conforming, you miss out on opportunities to innovate, create, and even make a difference. The world needs your unique perspective, folks. And fitting in silence doesn't help. Fitting in actually silences that voice. Resentment and regret. Living a life that does not align with your true self can lead to feelings of resentment and regret. You may look back and wonder, what could happen, or could have been rather, if you had dared to stand out? I will never have that regret. But how do you embrace standing out? Folks, celebrate your differences. Instead of viewing your uniqueness as a flaw, see it as a strength. What makes you different is what makes you special. Take risks. Standing out often requires stepping outside your comfort zone. Be willing to take risks, try new things, and embrace even uncertainty. Ignore the critics. Not everyone will understand or even appreciate your decision to stand out. That's okay. Focus on the people who support and uplift you, not on the people who are enjoying an abysmally low standard of living and quality of life, but want to be all up in your business, telling you what you should and should not do. Use your voice, whether through art, writing, activism, or everyday conversations. Use your voice to share your perspective with the world. Show that you are on purpose. Consistency will win converts. Lead by example. When you stand out, you inspire others to do the same. Your courage can create a ripple effect, encouraging others to embrace their uniqueness. We were not born to fit in, folks. We were born to stand out. Our differences are not something to be ashamed of. They are our greatest assets. By embracing our individuality, we can create a life of authenticity, purpose, and impact. Standing out is not always easy, but it is always worth it. It is through our uniqueness that we can make a difference, inspire others, and leave a lasting legacy. So stop trying to fit in. Stand out, shine brightly, and show the world the incredible person you were born to be. Grenada is a great nation, and there is greatness in every Grenadian. We live in a world today where evil is all around us. It has either become or becoming stronger than good. That's unfortunate to say, but it is true. You could feel it. How many people you know are fulfilling their path in a truly authentic way, who are not motivated by greed, lust, or temptation, that are truly able to trust in a divine source that they have an honest connection to? How many? I honestly can say just a few, nothing more. That tells us how truly far we are from our natural paths. I want to do what I truly come on the planet to do. And if that means I have to remove myself from the things that come before me, the things in my lineage from way back when that are not good, watch me good, I will. In fact, I have. No resignation within me to just throw my hands in the air and say, well, boy, it's in my blood, and then just settle. Joke day. Hell no. If these so-called things are steeped in evil, I shall make every effort to divorce myself from them, if even it means remaining silent and not claiming any relation to and with them altogether. In my books, evil must be conquered, and I don't dare, or rather care, how much time it takes, but I am resolved to not bowing to the evil around us. I shall fight it with every fiber within my being. You see, the assertion that if you don't get away from evil people, they are going to continue to influence your mindset is both profound and deeply insightful. It speaks to the power of influence, the importance of surrounding yourself with positive energy, and the necessity of protecting your mental and emotional well-being. I would like us to explore that a little bit more in depth. What about the power of influence? You see, human beings are inherently social creatures, and our environment plays a significant role in shaping our thoughts, behaviors, and of course, beliefs. The people we surround ourselves with have a profound impact on our mindset, whether we realize it or not. And this is because emotions are contagious. Being around negative, toxic, or even evil people can lead to feelings of stress, anxiety, and pessimism. Over time, their negativity steeps into your own mindset, altering how you see the world and yourself. Keep away from them. When you are constantly exposed to harmful behaviors, such as manipulation, dishonesty, and cruelty, of course, you could find all these three in that old nastiness. You may begin to see them as normal or even acceptable. A lot of followers of that old nastiness see these things as normal. This can lead to a distorted moral compass and a compromised sense of self. Just look at the efforts made by that old nastiness, and of course his concubine of a nameless, faceless monster with all their fake profiles, contaminating the minds of the weak and willing among us who volunteer to be used for evil in our society. Evil or toxic people often thrive on belittling, controlling, or even undermining others. But the inherent trait there is evil. If you stay in such environments, their words and actions chip away at your self-esteem, making it harder to recognize your own worth and potential, leading you instead to be used by them for their own selfish agenda and self-gain. Look at that young woman who is being destroyed before our very eyes by an old geezer. This geezer done already, you know. Live life, the track record nasty, but not going down without taking some people with him. Really sad at the realization of the dangers of lack of knowledge and lack of awareness. If that young lady would only take time to do some research, she would realize that that nastiness is using her to peddle his lies, which in turn destroys her forever as she becomes a facilitator and a conduit to his inherent dishonesty. But what are the dangers of prolonged exposure? Staying in the company of evil or toxic people is like living in a polluted environment. It slowly poisons you. Here's how prolonged exposure can affect you. You lose sight of clarity. You see, negative influences can cloud your judgment, making it harder to distinguish right from wrong or to make decisions that align with real values you were meant to follow. Your ambition diminishes. Evil people often discourage growth and success, either out of jealousy or a desire to keep you under their control and under their spell. This can stifle your dreams and ambitions. Look at the number of one-time young people who have been destroyed by the old nastiness, who tied them up for 10 and 15 years believing they were only worth $800 and $1,200 per month. And on free money at that, with no real exposure to proper self-development. And who, when they graduate from this contrived Imani program with no real structure, ended up moving to the next level. What was the next level? Debushing. All this time being permanently placed on a vote farm to keep that old nastiness and his goons in power over the entire country. Folks, you become emotionally drained. Toxic and evil individuals who presented as leaders over such a long and extended period have sucked the energy out of many of the people around them. Over time, you can see the exhaustion they operate in today, steeped in hopelessness and, of course, haplessness. A reflection of how emotionally depleted they all are, with them not being any use to society as a whole. Many of them today are not even good to throw. Reinforcement of negative patterns, because many of them know nothing else. They continue to reside in the path of least resistance, having adopted the same harmful behaviors, perpetuating a cycle of negativity while they eat the bread the devil need in real life. Folks, distance has its importance. The assertion emphasizes the need to get away from evil people. And this is crucial for several reasons. Protecting your peace. Your mental and emotional well-being should be a top priority. Removing yourself from toxic influences allows you to reclaim your peace and focus on what truly matters. Reclaiming your identity. Evil people often exert their energy to control or manipulate others, which can lead to a loss of self for their victims. By distancing yourself, you create space to rediscover who you are and what you stand for. In a general way, because I realized a long time now that the effects of evil people around us were taking over, I pulled away and withdrew altogether from wider society. the best thing I could have done to reclaim, preserve, and nurture my own identity. What about creating a positive environment? Surrounding yourself with kind, supportive, and uplifting people fosters growth, happiness, and resilience. You don't find those people in many numbers, so your circle will dwindle. You see, a positive environment encourages you to thrive and become the best version of yourself. That circle I have developed over the years has become so small and meaningful. It isn't funny. We do not have to see each other, but we know we are each there for each other. Breaking the cycle, folks. Leaving toxic relationships or environments is a powerful act of self-respect. It sends a message that you will not tolerate mistreatment or negativity, and it sets the stage for healthier relationships in the future. It also gives you the opportunity to establish boundaries and live resolutely within those boundaries. But how do you recognize and distance yourself from evil people? Evil or toxic people often exhibit traits like manipulation, dishonesty, cruelty, and a lack of empathy. They use people. And when they can't use you anymore, they throw you to the wolves. You've seen that recently on December 15th. Pay attention to how they treat you and others. Don't wait till they get around to you. Look at how they treat others and pack your grip and leave. We have been having bad experiences with an extremely evil individual right here in Grenada for years. You just look at him, any picture taken of him, once it's reproduced, you see the ugliness that is represented by evil steeping out of that individual. You take a picture of that individual in a funeral, you see the evil in him, and the funeral is in a church, you know. But you could see the evil seeping out from every pore. No picture you take of that evil goon ever looks good. Why? He is the embodiment of evil. You see, if something feels off about a person or relationship, trust your gut. Your intuition is a powerful tool for self-preservation. There are many people who are spiritual who will tell you that when they shake the hand of the evil one, they feel all his evil. A former public service official here in Grenada can tell you of that first-hand experience that she had with that specific evil one. If you cannot completely remove someone from your life, establish clear boundaries to limit their influence and reach over you. This might mean reducing contact or avoiding certain topics of conversation. Leaving toxic relationships can be challenging, especially if the person is a family member, a co-worker, or even someone you've known for a long time. Lean on trusted friends, mentors, or even professionals for guidance and support. You see, after distancing yourself, prioritize activities and relationships that nurture your mind, your body, and your soul. This will help you to heal and rebuild your sense of self. You see, the assertion that if you don't get away from evil people, they are going to continue to influence your mindset is a powerful reminder of the importance of guarding your mental and emotional well-being. Evil or toxic people can have a corrosive effect on your life. Look at how many people the evil one that we all know have under the spell of he, and I dare say he enlists help, a concubine too, and able to continue to make an ass of them. Goodly folks, you have the power to break free from their influence by recognizing harmful behavior, setting boundaries, and surrounding yourself with positive influences. You can protect your peace, reclaim your identity, and create a life filled with purpose and joy. You have to be prepared to hear the truth if you want to stand any chance of freeing yourself from the spell of the old nastiness and all the people around him, including the nameless, faceless monster. Remember, you deserve to be in environments and relationships that uplift and inspire you. Don't be afraid to walk away from anything or anyone that threatens your well-being. Your mindset, your happiness, and your future are well worth it. Grenada is a great nation, and there is greatness in every Grenadian. Just remember that. Only one time you will live. Embrace your uniqueness. Stop fitting in. Stand out instead, folks. Let's take another break and come back. And remember, hit that share button. Tag your friends who are late. Come on. Stand in the gap for them and bring people in the room so that they can feel the energy, feel the vibes, and be introduced to a new frequency at which they should function in their own lives.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This is Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and/or affiliates of this program.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Wonderful, folks, and welcome back. We're into our third segment, and we're going good. We're going good on time. Then again, you're with me. Some of you can't get enough. We started this thing. This thing was a 20-minute thing. It reached to half an hour. It climbed to 45 minutes. It climbed to an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 15 minutes. Now it is up to an hour and 45 minutes sometimes. Wow. You people like thing. Anyhow, as long as you're there and as long as I'm not speaking to myself, I shall continue. I shall proceed. So peace and blessings, and thank you very much for your loyalty. Thank you for sharing, because it's so interesting that, we probably don't get as many people as we would like to see, or many of you complain and say that on the live itself. But go check it at the end of the week, and you'd realize, well, I have two platforms: the private page, which is the Edward Frederick page, and of course the public page, which is the Eddie Frederick page. And the Eddie Frederick page, oh Lord have mercy, 7,000, 8,000, 12,000 views. What does that say? People are looking. People are listening. People are tuning in. And the beautiful thing about this being archived, people can at their own convenience. Isn't that a wonderful thing? Wonderful. So welcome back, folks. And for those of you just joining, and for the first time ever, Thank you. And, just fall in line and hit the share button and get it out there, folks. You realize that the program crescendos. It keeps going up and up and up until it climaxes when we're finished. So, you know where this is going. Goodly folks, become so good at what you do that your talent cannot be dismissed. People will have a hole in their soul over who you are and what you can do. That's a powerful call to excellence, self-mastery, and the pursuit of greatness. It speaks to the idea that when you dedicate yourself to honing your craft and developing your unique abilities, you become indispensable, unforgettable, and of course, irreplaceable. Let's break this down and explore its deeper meaning. I am a believer in the saying, excellence commands attention. When you become exceptionally skilled at something, people can't help but notice you. Whether it's art, science, business, sports, or any other field, mastery stands out. It transcends mediocrity and forces others to acknowledge your talent, even if initially they doubted or dismissed you. Look at Minister Andy Williams, for example. A.J. Williams and people like him use their talent as a form of influence. Great talent is not just about personal achievement. It is about impact. When you excel at what you do, you inspire others. You challenge norms. You push boundaries. Your work becomes a source of inspiration, admiration, and even envy. People will feel a void when you're not around because your presence and contributions are so significant. Look at the level of expectation that many people have of our current breath of fresh air Prime Minister, Deacon Mitchell. The same cannot be said of the old nastiness. People glad he gone, never to come back. Deacon Mitchell's mammoth success in his legal career sets the stage for what we can expect from him as duly elected leader of this nation at the beginning of our second 50 years of national independence. You see, true mastery leaves a lasting impression. Think of legends like Michael Jordan, Maya Angelou, Oprah Winfrey, and our very own Dr. Nicholas Earl Brathwaite, the most influential black man on all of Silicon Valley. Their individual talents are and were so extraordinary that they became a part of the cultural fabric of their stations in life. Even after they're gone away from their craft, their influence remains, and people feel a sense of loss because their brilliance is irreplaceable. You see the phrase, people will have a hole in their soul over who you are and what you can do, is poetic but deeply meaningful. It suggests that your talent and presence become so integral to others' lives that your absence creates a palpable void. Here's how this can happen. When you pour your heart and your soul into your work, it resonates with others on a deep emotional level. Whether it is through art, as I said, leadership, or innovation, your talent touches people's hearts and becomes a part of their lives. Your talent is not just about skill. It's about your unique perspective, creativity, and authenticity. No one else can replicate what you bring to the table. When you're gone, people feel the absence of that uniqueness. Great talent inspires others to dream bigger, work harder, and strive for greatness. When you're no longer there to lead, create, or inspire, people feel the loss of your guiding light. Because dimness replaces your guiding light. So how do you become so good that your dismissal could lead to a crash? How many people do you hear others ask why they don't get rid of he or she? Because they are just too darn good at what they do. To get rid of them would be self-defeating. You see, many of the people who ask this question are definitely not in the category of the few who make themselves indispensable. If you have any desire to become one of these rare types, you are advised to commit to continuous improvement. Mastery or success is not a destination, folks. It's a journey you travel. Dedicate yourself to lifelong learning and growth. Study your craft, seek feedback, and constantly push yourself to improve. But you can't do that if you're minding people business. You can't do that if you are easily absorbed by the evil one, Satan grandson. Develop a strong work ethic, folks. Talent alone is not enough. Behind every great talent is hours of hard work, hours of discipline, hours of perseverance. Be willing to put in the effort to refine your skills and achieve excellence. What about embracing your uniqueness? Because there is where you stand out among the rest. Don't try to be like everyone else. Your unique perspective and approach are what set you apart. Lean into your individuality and let it shine through your work. Focus on impact. You see, great talent is not just about potential achievement. It is about making a difference. Think about how your work can inspire, uplift, or even transform others. When your talent serves a great purpose, it becomes unforgettable. Build resilience. The path to mastery is not easy. You will face criticism just as long as you do not remain a statue to the critics. You will face setbacks. You will face challenges. Always remember, Shakespeare said, the course of true love never did run smooth. Develop the resilience to keep going, even when others doubt. They have doubts about you and your journey, or they try to dismiss your talent. Stand firm in your purpose, folks. But you cannot stand firm in your purpose if you're fast, fresh, forward, and frontish. If all you could do is mind people business, and the people whose business you're minding, they're dog eating better than you. Hello? Surround yourself with excellence, folks. The people you surround yourself with can either elevate or diminish your potential. Seek out mentors, collaborators, and peers who challenge or inspire you to be your best. In our vastly deteriorated society today, it is difficult to find them. Guess what? You can find them on social media, in the stratosphere too. This can help you to stay home, away from the surfeit of negative energies that we are totally surrounded by here in Grenada. Greatness has a ripple effect, folks, believe it or not. When you become so good at what you do that your talent cannot be dismissed, you create a ripple effect that extends far beyond yourself. Ask our Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell about ripple effect as a spin-off from his successful career as a lawyer. You see, your excellence raises the bar for everyone around you. It challenges others to step up their game and strive for higher levels of achievement. Your talent and dedication inspire others to pursue their own passions and dreams. You become a role model, showing others what's possible with hard work and determination. Great talents open doors, folks. Never forget that. Not just for yourself, but for others as well. Your success can create opportunities for collaboration, mentorship, and growth within your field. Ask the lawyers and the entire admin and clerical team at Mitchell & Co. about the opportunities they now enjoy because of the hard work and dedication and great leadership they were influenced by before Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell pivoted into politics. Go and ask them. When your talent is undeniable, it becomes a part of history. Your work will continue to inspire and influence figures generations to come. Long after you're gone, dead and gone, Folks, didn't I tell you? Grenada is a great nation, and there is greatness in every Grenadian if we would learn to mind our goddamn business. The call to become so good at what you do that your talent cannot be dismissed is a challenge to rise above mediocrity and embrace your potential for greatness. It's about more than just skill. It's about passion, dedication, and relentless pursuit of excellence. When you achieve this level of mastery, your presence becomes unforgettable, and your absence leaves a void that cannot be filled. So what should you do? Pour your heart into your craft. You see, the same way you pour your heart into minding people, business, and mawet, change gear. Pour your heart into your craft of making a better life for yourself. And then you will be striving to make a meaningful impact on life. When you do, people won't just admire your talent, they'll feel it in their souls. And that is the mark of true greatness. So my advice to you is to find something you would love to do and dedicate your life to doing it. This is where purpose resides. For when you love what you do, when you do what you love, you will never work a day in your life. You see, only one time we will live, folks. Embrace your uniqueness. Stop fitting in. Stand out instead. Let's take a break and come back for our final segment. And don't forget, folks, tag your friends who you didn't see here today because something wrong, they're not here. I don't know if that is true, but I'm sure you know people that you missed today. Get them in the room. Let's have a little break here and we'll come right back with the final segment.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This is Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and/or affiliates of this program.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, folks, this is the final segment. So let's just get on right with it. Folks, you see this phrase, when you love what you do and you do what you love, you will never work a day in your life. That encapsulates the idea that when you work, your work aligns with your passions and interests. It no longer feels like a burden or obligation. Instead, it becomes a source of joy, fulfillment, and purpose. Two things I do in my life, which I have been doing since I found my purpose 40 odd years ago. This provocative role here on the airwaves and training and development of people. I get to exude total confidence while doing them, none of which feel like work, even though they take a lot of time in both research and general preparation. A deeper elaboration on this concept is necessary for us to understand and appreciate what I mean by when you love what you do and you do what you love, you will never work a day in your life. You see, when you are passionate about your work, it becomes more than just a means to earn a living. You win easily when you are passionate about life. Whatever you do for a living transforms into a meaningful pursuit that aligns with your values and goals. This sense of purpose makes even challenging tasks feel rewarding as they contribute to something that you genuinely care about. Loving what you do feels intrinsic because it fuels motivation. It fuels that intrinsic motivation within you. The drive to engage in an activity for its own sake rather than for external rewards like money or even recognition. Well, don't talk about if you were chosen by a crook or con and made to feel that that crook or con loves you and deeply cares about you, while all he is doing is using you to prop him up in power that he has over you. You see, this internal drive makes work feel less like a chore and more like a natural extension of your interests and talents. That is why, if you were chosen as an Imani and you were passionate about your future and thus your life, you would have made every effort to transform that practical on-the-job training opportunity into real, tangible, and meaningful employment, rather than settle for 5, 10, or even 15 years for what you considered free money while being stuck at the take-home rate of $800 to $1,200 per month. For all this time, preparing yourself for a miserable future, which of course, the money that you've been collecting rendered you totally destroyed by a man presiding over a system that you were fooled to believe deeply cared about you. Today, you're a full adult in your 30s. Some of you in your 40s. And in a few cases, you even a little bit in your early 50s with little to no hope of ever enjoying a better standard of living and quality of life before you die. But you still love the one-time captor. If you fall into that category, you're better off dead, as you never grew in life because you volunteered for a con man to stifle you while he became rich and prosperous to the point where he could feel emboldened to behave as if he just started to live again with concubine and all. Folks, when you are deeply engaged in work that you love, you're more likely to experience a flow state where time seems to fly by and you're fully immersed in the task at hand. You see, this state of heightened focus and productivity is both enjoyable and fulfilling, making work feel effortless. Loving your work helps you to overcome obstacles and setbacks more easily. Challenges are seen as opportunities for growth rather than sources of stress. This resilience allows you to stay committed and motivated even when the going gets tough. You see, when you love what you do, the boundaries between work and personal life often blur in a positive way, that is. Your work becomes a part of who you are, and you find joy in integrating it into your daily life. You see, this harmony reduces the feeling of work as something separate or burdensome. Engaging in work that aligns with your passions brings a deeper sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. It allows you to express your creativity, utilize your strengths, and make a meaningful impact, which contributes to overall happiness and well-being. When you do what you love, you are more likely to leave a lasting legacy. Your enthusiasm and dedication inspires others, and your work has a greater chance of making a positive impact on the world. Look at how Sir Royston Hopkins of good memory loved what he did and did what he loved, to the point where he was able to present Spice Island Beach Resort to the world. But look at how the apple never rolled after it fell from that tree. Look at what Janelle Hopkins, his successor, is doing today, taking it steps further. His father's legacy was so rich, worthy of emulation, to the point where she grabbed with both hands and sprinted. So you see, when you do what you love and you love what you do, it leaves a lasting legacy. So in essence, the phrase, when you love what you do and you do what you love, you will never work a day in your life, highlights the transformative power of aligning your career with your passions. When work becomes a reflection of your true self, it ceases to feel like work in the traditional sense of the word. Instead, it becomes a fulfilling journey that enriches your life and brings you closer to your dreams. Folks, God did not breathe his life into us so that we could drag through the day, having awakened in the morning with the first words coming out of our mouths, "Lord, you mean it's morning already?" Many of you guilty of that. That is not the type of thanks and gratitude God deserves after giving you the opportunity time and time again to take your first breath of fresh air, while others, lesser fortunate souls, they took their last. God did not create us in his image, crown us with his favor, equip us with his power so that we would have no enthusiasm. Hell no. We all have experienced setbacks in life, but every day is a new day. God has breathed new life into us so that we shake off the blast and renew our passion daily, so that we stand a chance for the winds of change to blow once again in our direction, not against us this time, but for us. And that is precisely why, as real Christians, if we would get in agreement with God, he will cause things to shift in our favor, as a matter of course. Too many of you are too goddamn religious, and you omit to be Christians and believers and real followers of the Christ you say you believe in. Folks, as I change gears here a bit and get ready to take my leave, I must endeavor to be current on things that affect us as a people. I am duty-bound to make the point that every single day I am able to learn on Facebook how really stupid some people are, and how willing they are to ensure that you know that they're real stupid just by their bold posts. Sad indeed. I remember as recent as maybe last year, conducting a training program for a particular entity, when I noticed early in the session that these two people who were sitting close together were distracting each other with under the breath shoo-shooing to each other and trying to conceal their use of their cell phones to receive and send texts during the session. I decided to use the opportunity to bring them on course by directing questions to both of them. Of course, I was confident that they will not be able to answer these questions because they were physically at the session, but otherwise absent. Folks, bear in mind, we're talking about two women, full-grown adults. Please remember that I'm doing this now for a very long time, and so it has become second nature to read body language easily readily with a view to taking corrective measures, because it is my duty to ensure everybody leaves with something from my workshops. Folks, that was an interesting experience. You know, I was so correct that the older of the two women was already retired. I just looked at her and I could see, unless she was under 60, but badly maintained. But I could have seen that she was well over 60. You know what is interesting? Her circumstance disqualified her from actually being able to afford to go home altogether. And so she was retained long after she should have been sent packing. The younger one could not have joined that place of work for more than 2 to 3 years. Do you know I was actually correct? Folks, that's what you call the spirit of discernment. Could you imagine the younger one got an opportunity to learn something new and transform her approach to work, but instead allowed herself to be absorbed and manipulated by another worker who is operating on fumes? Retired, but current circumstance caused her to not even be qualified to go home and live on her little NIS pension alone, and had to be done a favor to remain working. But the younger one that just came paired up with her to become like her. Are you surprised that the older one is in that predicament? Oh no. Yet for all, the unthinking younger one allowed her to get close to this older failure. She allowed herself to become close to this older failure to become like her. So in effect, she was in training to replace the older one when she finally gone. What would make someone so mindless? I solved that potential problem for the conduct of the workshop by separating them. You'd be surprised how much more participative the younger one became, while the older one, who was the personification of misery, looking for fit company, remained miserable throughout the rest of the session in the presence of members of management who actually witnessed for themselves her poor conduct. Needless to say, after that workshop, the older one was released from the opportunity that she was squandering, as the only reason why she was coming to work was not to contribute, but to continue the status quo of eating her food while being a total distraction and negatively influencing productivity on the job. I was subsequently told the atmosphere at work after her final dismissal is a lot better, and thank God for the training session that revealed that gaping hole. Even the younger one phoned me to thank me for opening her eyes. What an adult and mature thing to have done. Folks, one important lesson I can offer you where you work is concerned in that, let me just, how should I really put this? You can only become good at what you do by being so vigilant and so fantastic at what you do for a living that your talent cannot be dismissed. Stop comparing yourself to and with others. You were only born to be you, no one else. Stop imitating others with the one life that you have. Stop allowing people to absorb you, especially for negative things. When you maintain this level of certainty with your life, certain people cannot prey, P-R-E-Y, on you for their own good. Instead, certain other people will pray, P-R-A-Y, for you. You will be able to tell the difference between who are praying on you and who are praying for you. The people who are praying and acting as conduits for God's blessings on us don't usually talk to us. But those who are praying are usually the ones all up in our face. This is why we need the spirit of discernment. Yes, you might be grateful, but you need wisdom. Your gift alone is not enough. You need wisdom, folks, so you can discern which crowd you are in. I'm so glad that I have opted out of the current mangled society, which has lost its way, so I can stand aloof and see who is who for who they really are, and get all the chances in the world to meet them before I actually meet them. I recently met a young woman who is so spiritual that she gets the shivers when she meets evil spirits embodied by human overlay. Interestingly, I felt her deep in my spirit when I connected at a recent workshop. I was particularly moved to shout and rant and rave as if I were a preacher. And as God would have it, I was positioned right by her for the most part of that session, not recognizing her whatsoever. Why was I compelled to be positioned nearest to her? It is quite obvious, folks. My spirit felt her. Secure people do not match energy, folks. They maintain their own energy. And if that other person is not presenting the type and quality of energy that that secure person wants, they're either going to say something about it or know when to walk away. There is no usual in between with a secure person. If you like me, show up for me. And if you are not going to, or better put, if you are not showing up for me, and it is a consistent thing in bold letters, then I'm going to walk the hell away. I'm not going to sit around to teach you how to treat me badly. Hell no. I was not meant to discuss anything to do with the upcoming election, folks, of a new executive of the Public Workers Union, as I have no interest one way or the other. But something drove me to make mention. I received a note from someone who drew my attention to the development, where one of the candidates for leadership of the PWU's upcoming elections is openly and proudly supported by the mangled opposition National Nasty Party. As the person said, to use my strong and appropriate description of that machicated political organization. According to them, anyone who considers himself or herself a decent citizen would never allow themselves to be recommended by these low-life people who constitute this current National Nasty Party, the NNP. What an endorsement by the opposition of that candidate and her team, who have tried to halt the worker-friendly deals from the current worker-friendly administration or the process of reform. Isn't that something? With a need for transformation, folks, in the strictest sense of the word. The person said, Eddie, they've made it political. And all of us who are friendly with the need for transformation, we need to sit up and take note of their scheme. They need their candidate to win so that they can retard the process of reform within the public service. They have a wish to remain consistently against the workers' betterment. And what better person to work through than their preferred candidate who have vendettas to unleash? You see, their confrontational attitude and approach has been well noted. And should they succeed, it will be detrimental to the negotiation process for workers. Wow, what an eye-opener. But as I said, one way or the other, I don't give a hoot. Goodly folks, if you in the public service ain't paying attention, you will take what you get. A word to the wise is more than sufficient. Goodly folks, 3 days ago, I just stumbled upon the following and thought I should share it on my Facebook page, and of course I did. The phenomenon of less informed or less rational individuals with an agenda speaking the loudest is a common observation, and it can be attributed to a combination of psychological, social, and cognitive factors. Dunning-Kruger effect. You see, people with limited knowledge or skills, they often overestimate their competence because they lack the self-awareness to recognize their own limitations. This overconfidence can lead them to speak loudly and assertively, even when they are uninformed or totally incorrect. They are everywhere in all societies, but their devastating effects are felt more in small societies like ours, where they cannot be avoided. In contrast, more knowledgeable individuals may be more cautious and hesitant to speak, as they are aware of the complexity of the topic and the potential for error. Apart from that, they are wary of unwanted and unwarranted attacks by the less knowledgeable, who are easily roused to take offense at reason and scrape up everything they can find from the gutter to throw at the knowledgeable. Look at the mayhem, for instance, folks. The Minister of Finance's revelation in his recent media briefing attracted from the loud noise-making, empty-headed many, who again came out in their numbers to convince us all that we could never underestimate the damage stupid people in large groups can have on any society. I think it was George Carlin who said that. Never underestimate the amount of damage stupid people in large groups can have on any society. The rabble-rousing ignorant can really have some serious negative impact on a society, which convinces me that I'm correct to proudly repeat something I first heard, and regularly so at that, by the late Derek Knight QC. Democracy presupposes its participants are intelligent. It is quite obvious that the finance minister is guilty of information overload. And in mentioning so far ahead of March 7th's budget presentation that government intends to borrow in excess of $700 million to fund its capital expenditure projects, it attracted the noise of several who are challenged in the Department of Intelligence. The current side of our spending is not in any trouble at all, as revenues from taxes and levies collected at all national revenue collection points continue to work well. The Citizenship by Investment program is doing well, but there are projects to be funded. Government therefore needs to find the money to attend to our infrastructure, which is in terrible need of upgrade, in some cases repair and maintenance, leading with our national network of roads. Our teaching hospital projects need to get moving, and no funding institution is going to be prepared to lend or grant any money if a country, or rather I should say to a country, if we are going to them with an empty hand. We have to have some matching funds to show that we have commitment to the project. What is interesting here is the fact that the old nastiness, Tropical Trump, Satan's grandson, that old geezer, he knows all of this and is not in the mood to correct the narrative of his simple ton of a party followers, what's left of them, inferior mouthpieces, and even elected MPs, the other three La-La Land heads, to peddle the rubbish that the Deacon Mitchell administration has bankrupted the Treasury. What the old nastiness knows and is therefore afraid of is that is over for him and his goons. It is over. O-V-A-H. It is done. Because what the administration say they will do with the over $700 million they are going to borrow, watch me good folks, they will do. and their follow-up actions will render the National Nasty Party days done. You see, the Deacon Mitchell administration is not of the ilk to follow the lying, dishonest style of the old nastiness from 95 to 2022 for the most part, who included everything in the budget presentations over the years, including the kitchen sink and all, with absolutely no follow-up, and spent all these years in government with nothing to show for it, except, of course, personal benefits. Folks, people generally hate when you figure them out. They hate when you call out their lies. When you finally tell them that they are not who they say they are because of their actions, they generally do not like when you tell them as it is. They try to treat you as if you committed a crime against them. I always prepared for that. And when they can't respond to you in an equally intellectual way, you know what they do? They head for the gutter to see if they could find some slime to throw on you. And they invent. And of course, you know, there's a lot of people who might not like you too, who are want to believe the nonsense they peddle. Watch me good. I don't give a damn. Because when you peddle nonsense, you are only showing your level. That's all. So you see, folks, the reason why it is so darn hard for so many among us to stay happy is because it is too easy for them to get offended. But if we truly have a desire to stay happy, we have to make it hard or even impossible to get offended. I want to invite you to enroll in my Get Unoffendable culture. I want to invite you into that. Get into the unoffendable culture. Instead of stopping your life to watch and criticize mine, watch to see how not to be offended instead. And you would be doing yourself a great favor. The enemy's agenda for our life, folks, is destruction. The strategy is to achieve their agenda by division. You remember what Matthew 12:25 says? A house divided against itself cannot stand. A lot of us thought it was Abraham Lincoln who said that. Oh no, he popularized it. It was Matthew 12:25. A house divided against itself can't stand. We need to stand firmly within ourselves while fending off the enemy with their evil agenda and deceitful strategy. I end with the following quote. There are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true, and the other is to refuse to believe what is true. That is according to Soren Kierkegaard. Folks, let us pray for that young lady that old nastiness is taking and making ass of, as often as he does, with lies and rubbish. Because it is my fear that when he's finished with her, she would be done. Let us pray that she wises up quickly to stop that magie puppet nonsense and get herself meaningfully ensconced into the mainstream of life and safeguard her future. Because this old nastiness done already. Don't let him act as a magnet to take her with him. Only one time we will live, folks. We need to embrace our uniqueness. Stop fitting in. Stand out instead. Grenada is a great nation, and there is greatness in every Grenadian. Hey, I'm in, I'm out, and I'm gone. I want to thank you very much for joining again. Continue to share. See you next week at the same time, same place for more extraordinary programming. Until then, stay safe, stay well, remain vigilant and stay lifted. Stay focused too, stay on purpose. Remember, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Just type in my name, Edward or Eddie Frederick. No fake names. You see what you get, folks. I don't fit in. You can join me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. Subscribe, like, and share. And be prepared to receive your mental multivitamins as straight up as I deliver them. Peace and blessings to you lovely people. Keep sharing. I really trust and pray that you got a lot from today's sharing so that you can be edified and you can be ready to take the world on. Folks, you know what is interesting? As frank as I come across, my standard of living and quality of life has never shrunk, because the same thing naysayers hate me for is the same very thing people love me for. I'm just doing me. Peace and blessings to you folks. Have a productive week. Take care of your wonderful selves. All the very best. All the very best.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This has been Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The Center for Democracy and Good Governance is a sound organization established to promote and strengthen democracy.
I want the best for my family, so every meal has to be perfect. Every bite has to say, There's no doubt in my mind that the best in frozen meats and vegetables has to come from the Country Cold Store. Hams, turkeys, sausages, beef, pork, chicken. I just don't know my family is in safe hands. Thank you, Country Cold Store, for being there for us for the past 40 years.
There are some interesting specials available at Country Cold Store's Mini Mart while stocks last. Take advantage of these specials as they assist you to stretch your limited funds.
The Country Cold Store, providing the best in frozen meats and vegetables since 1969.
Attention all forward-thinking companies. Sure, you can do with a continuous positive boost to your image and impact your bottom line. If you think training is expensive, try not training and you will experience a perpetual downward spiral in patronage on account of increased dissatisfied customers. Take things into your hands and engage the best at motivation and customer care training with a tried and tested track record. Visit www.efrederick.com now and learn how you can change the atmosphere in your business and improve the customer experience for everyone who does business with you. Spice Island Beach Resort and Belmont Estate are two such local entities of world renown that have benefited tremendously from ongoing customer care, social skills, and motivation training. Training changes everything for the better for any business and every team member. Enhance employee performance through increased awareness and passion for the job at hand. Greater potential in your workforce awaits you through engaged, high-energy training that works. Log on now, www.efrederick.com.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.